earlier ones where we left with the manifolds. Basically in mathematics, is it visible?
Participants, please mute your mics, or I'll have to do it.
In mathematics, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Okay. Manifold is basically a topological space that locally resembles with the Euclidean space near each point. More precisely, if we say that each point of an n-dimensional manifold has a neighborhood that is homomorphic to the Euclidean space of dimension n. So manifold is here we refer to a n manifold. So one-dimensional manifold includes lines and circles, but not figure. So they are two-dimensional are also called the surface, like plane, sphere, torus. And in three-dimensional, basically we have a real space like a Klein bottle and the other planes. Basically, why we required of this plane or manifold. When we are talking about the one-dimensional system have flows in phase space, either in a monotonically, in extremely confined way, or remain constant while in higher dimension. A wider range of dynamical behavior is possible. So we start with the simple definition and examples. Suppose we have a two-dimensional linear system of the form x dot equal to ax plus by, y dot equal to cx plus dy, where a, b, c, d are parameters. So if we are writing this as a matrix notation or a system of equation, then we are getting x dot equal to ax, where a is this matrix, a, b, c, d, and x is the vector xy. And you know that this is a linear system. If x1 and x2 are the solution, and then so is the its linear combination, which is c1x1 plus c2x2. So the solution of x2 equal to ax, if we visualize as a trajectory moving on the plane, in this called phase plane. We discussed a lot about the phase plane. So suppose we consider the vibration of a mass, this hanging from a linear spring governed by this differential equation. So m is the mass, k is the spring constant, and x is the displacement of the mass from the equilibrium position. So you got this equation of a simple pendulum. So solution for this simple harmonic oscillator, as we did earlier also, x dot equal to v, so v dot equal to minus kx by m. And when we are going on solving this, where omega square we took as a k by m, so the system turns as x dot equal to v and v dot equal to minus omega square x. This means your position vector and the velocity vector are v and minus omega square x at each point xv. So this means in the phase plane your point is v and minus omega square x. And when you are trying to find out, this is between x and v. So when we are on the x-axis, means this axis, then v is 0. So if v is 0, this means you have 0 and minus omega square x. Hence the vectors pointed towards the positive x and vertically up for the negative as shown in the figure. So as gets larger in magnitude, if x is larger, so you see that as you are moving, then this 0 and minus omega square x, this is going on longer. You see this. So as x is increasing, you are getting a this or this. Similarly, on the v-axis, if you are taking that, the vector xv on this axis, which points to the right when v is greater than 0, and on the left when v is less than 0. So as one moves in the phase space, as you move in the phase space, the vector changes its direction, and it is helpful to view the vector field as a imaginary fluid in motion. So x dot equal to v dot equal to this v minus omega square x. Now if we have to find out the trajectories. So if you have to find out the trajectory, the origin is the starting point. And as you are moving x dot v dot equal to 0, this means x v 0 0. So hence origin is a fixed point, but a phase point starting anywhere else, and so it is circulating about the origin. So these are the node points. So such trajectories form the closed orbit around this, and this figure is completely known as a phase portrait or phase space plane, because it is a graph between xv. So this is a phase space, a phase portrait, or phase diagram. Now, if we are taking a in the two-dimensional, as already I explained that thing, and if we are finding the Lipno function or the energy function, so this comes to be omega square x square plus v square equal to c square. That's why you are getting all the surfaces as a circle, these ones. Okay. These are the all spheres of circles which you are getting around these points. Suppose we take a linear system x dot equal to ax, where a is a0, 0 minus 1. If now we have to portrait this graph as a varies from minus infinity to infinity, then what are the different cases? So x dot y dot equal to a0, 0 minus 1. This means if you are writing an equation, so x dot equal to ax and y dot equal to minus 5, which shows that both the equations are uncoupled because both are separated. So if you are solving first equation, the solution is xt equal to x naught e to power at and y2 equal to y naught of e to power minus t. In each case, if you see that this y is decreasing exponentially, and when a is less than 0, then x is also decreasing exponentially. So both the trajectories, if a is less than 0, means then they are starting or approaching the origin as t tends to infinity. However, the different approach depends on the size of a. It's because if it is compared to minus 1, they are tending towards 0. Simultaneously, if a size is changes, then both the trajectories are moving differently. If you have a is less than minus 1, the trajectories are moving towards this, but that decays more rapidly than yt, because you know that as it is a smaller, then it is approaching towards that faster. So the trajectory approaches the origin tangent. This is the y tangent, which is showing that. And on the other hand, if we look backwards along a trajectory, t tends to minus infinity. Then it is a fixed point, x tends to minus a is called a this is a your stable node. Same if a is equal to minus 1, then yt by this is y naught, which is a constant term. So all the trajectories are the straight line towards the origin. So this is the star. And already we discussed these in the earlier cases. So here the fixed point is a star. Now if a is between minus 1 to 0, so it is again a example of a node. and you see that the approach towards the this point horizon. So here trajectory approaches x star, means along the x direction, which is the more slowly decaying, decreasing for the range of A as shown in the figure. When A is 0, A0 means you have a constant function only. So if A is 0, you are getting a lines. And so there is an entire line of fixed points along the x-axis. As x naught is changing, you are getting a different vertical lines. Now if A is greater than 0, then of course it becomes unstable because it is moving on the positive side. So the growth is exponential growth in the x direction. So most trajectories are moving out of the infinity. And in the when you are getting x star equal to 0, this is a saddle point. So the y-axis is called the stable manifold of the saddle point, because xt tends to x star as t tends to infinity, and as t tends to minus infinity, again it is tending to some point x star. So this is the case when only along this you are getting the approaching towards the 0, because y always approach towards the 0, but otherwise everywhere you are taking that trajectories are moving away from the that. So in this case, this point is here not as this is a saddle point because trajectories are moving away from this. So what is the how we are explaining actually? The typical trajectory asymptotically approaches unstable manifolds as t tends to minus infinity, and approaches to stable manifolds as t tends to infinity. And so we say that x star equal to 0 is an attracting fixed point. All trajectories that start near x star approaches it as t tends to infinity. This means x star attacks all the trajectory in the phase space, and so it will be known as a globally attracting also. But if we are uh, talking about the solution or different notion of the stability, so if we are talking about the behavior of the trajectories for all the time, so the fixed point is a Lipnov stable because you are getting a circular point. Hence, it is known as when a fixed point is Lipnov stable but not attracting, it is called a neutrally stable. And the nearby trajectories are neither attracted nor repelled from this neutrally stable equilibrium point. So the simple harmonic oscillator, you see that you are getting a circle, so that is a neutrally stable structure. And suppose we have a mechanical system in the absence of friction. So it is possible for a fixed point to be attracting, but not Lipnov stable. Suppose we consider the example that theta dot equal to minus cos theta, 1 minus cos theta. So if theta dot is 0, so you got a 0 value. So attract all the trajectories as t tends to 0, and also t tends to infinity. But it is not Lipnov stable because there are no trajectory. You are moving like this thing, but attracting towards this point. So it took a complete path coming to this point. So in this case, it is a Lipnov stable, and also because it is attracting towards this point, so it is an asymptotically stable point. Uh, like in the earlier example, we took that we had the 2 0 entries. So if you would like to study that, so xt equal to this one, x dot equal to ax. If we are taking this example, and this is the theorem, I'm not going in much detail about the theorem, but you, already I explained so many times. For finding the initial value of any function x dot equal to fx, you put that equal to 0, then you are getting a point in some time interval. So which should be continuously differentiable, smooth enough, and have the solution in the phase space. This is again that how you are getting a different type of the trajectories. These are the trajectories which never intersects. If two trajectories intersect, then there would be a two solution starting from the same point. But like this one, if you are starting like this, one is this one, another is this one. So you are getting one, both are the diverging to either. So in this case, both trajectories cannot intersect. So your phase portrait always look like this type of the structures. Again is that this one, I think this Poincare-Bendixson theorem was explained by some of the speaker, I thought so. If you have a one is this one, another is this one. Here, if you see that both the trajectories are there, but they are not touching each other. Why we required basically a manifolds? Actually, it is required for a reduction in the dimension. Uh, Whenever you have a very large data or like a large amounts of multivariate data, like in the cases of recognition of human faces, speech waveforms, global climate pattern, gene distributions. So these type of the data is difficult because their dimension is just greater than 3. Then we are using these type of the manifolds to analyze these ones. So this means whenever high dimensional data is there, so we have to visualize, compress the data for the better recognition, and then we are able to find out the probably meaningful direction, which gives us the means meaningful output or the present. We are able to understand what should be the dynamics of that system. Now, if you are taking this time, so we are calculating this clusters either using the principal component analysis or density estimation techniques. But if you have a lower dimensions manifolds, then easily you are able to find out in the curves forms either in a linear form or non-linear forms. So manifold is a topological space which is locally Euclidean. In general, any object which is nearly flat or small scale is a manifold. Like this is a torus. This is a simple examples of the manifolds. Basically, manifold you start and like this you are going on. So manifold arise naturally whenever there is a smooth variation of parameter. And the dimension of the manifold is the minimum integer number of coordinate necessary to identify each point in that manifold. So embedded data in a higher dimensional space to a lower dimensional manifold. So this is the job of the data scientist to reduce the dimension. That's why we are using the principal component analysis to reduce it to the lower dimensional manifolds. Like suppose this is the structure. I'm not going much in the statistical way, but in the principal component analysis, our job is to reduce it in the vectors form of these ones. So like this is your, this is the data representation. So what we are taking, this is a line and we are taking these two lines and trying to find out how much possible points are on those lines. So this is your one dimensional manifold. And same way, if you are presenting it in a edges form or I can say a graph representation form. So it is convert the pairwise distance matrix into the dot product matrix as x dot xt. And then we are using the optimization techniques to find out this distance should be minimized. So there you cannot say that mathematics is a like nonlinear. If we are talking about only we are talking about the differential equation. you are talking about the linear algebra, also optimization techniques, the statistical techniques. So all are the part of that. That's why I said that mathematics is a integrated structure. It is not a individual one. We can't say that we are only studying a one part or the other. So if we preserve this pairwise distance, so this means we are able to preserve this structure. If this distance is not preserved, so this structure is also gotten changed of that. Now this is an example, very good example. Actually here you see this is the cities are given and their distance are given between them, the different route paths. Now when you are plotting this, then your job is as a air flying company or something, or as a travel agent, that how to minimize that distance. So basically, if you are using this distical distance formula, so this is the distance between 2 points. So when you are taking dj/dk, so this comes out to be this distance. And now you see here, this is 1 point and this is 1 point. But you see that this is the distance which you have to measure. And this is the manifold which is moving along this. So there are the different type of the algorithm. I'm not going in much detail about those algorithms. Only I want to show you the glimpses of this. Like see that here, that how geodesic distance between far away points to be managed. So this is a for neighborhood points in a Euclidean distance is a good approximation of the geodesic distance. But for far away estimation, we have to take the help of the this manifolds. So for shortest path in a graph with edges connecting neighborhood data points, like you have seen here, this is the shortest distance, but whether it is possible or not, that is the question. So geodesic distance are covered according to the manifolds, means according to the geography of that system. So if you are calculating or moving like this thing and taking a flat path of this, I will show you. Once we have all pairwise geodesic distance, then we use the classic matrix of the minimum distance formula using this one and try to find out. So determine all the neighbors, all points in a fixed radius, then find out the k nearest neighbors, and then construct a neighborhood graph. Then each point is connected to the other. If it is in a k nearest neighborhood, A's length of this equals to the Euclidean distance. Compute the shortest path between the two nodes, which is you're either using the Floyd's algorithm or Dijkstra algorithm. Then we are finding the construct a lower dimensional embedding using the classical MDS. So this means firstly you are finding the points, and then you are taking this algorithm as I showed earlier. So like in this, this is 2 points. This is the shortest distance, but how to move this? So you are moving like this thing. Now what we are doing, taking using the algorithm, you are making in a sketch of this as a minimum distance. Like see that. So basically this is a point when you are moving along this point. So you are taking this plane, which is this plane. So you are fitting locally, but you are thinking globally. So this is the example of that how manifolds giving you the distance among these points. Similar way, if you have a data points like this is a structure, that was how you have to point out. So each point can be written as a linear combination of its neighbors. The weight chosen to be minimize the reconstruction error. Basically, because whenever you are, the main purpose is you are able to connect. Like here to America, I am able to connect, but purpose is to minimize the distance. So always you have a different path, and there are the different kind of the error. So our main purpose is to minimize the error. As we are able to minimize the error, we are getting a best solution. So minimized means xi, whatever it is, and whatever we are selecting the neighbor, because neighbor we are selecting with the some weight. So that is xi minus sum of these and taking a deviation from this point. So weight we are taking like in weather forecasting also. Suppose we have to predict for tomorrow. So we are assigning that we are taking normally a 3 days previous to that data and assigning the weight. So most emphasis on the today's data, like suppose we put a 50%, then 30% and 20%. So gradually it is going on decreasing on the previous days. So just precedent, it has a more weight than lesser and like this thing. So the weight that minimize the reconstructor errors are invariant to rotations, rescaling and translation of the data points. So always invariance to translation is enforced by adding the constraint that the weight sums to be, and the total weight sum we always take as a 1 because we are taking it as a probability or fuzzy or anything. So always the weight sum is considered to be the 1, and the same weight that reconstructs the data point in any dimension should reconstruct it in the manifold in the same dimension. So the weight characterize the intrinsic geometric properties of each neighborhood. So like if you have to find out the point in a D cross, so this is 1, this is 2, and this is this one. So this is the point which, so you are selecting a neighborhood of this point. So this means when you are selecting this, you are taking all the neighborhood points with the weights. So what should be the weight around of this? And then accordingly, you are finding to the map in the embedded dimension also. So this is the journal one. Okay, like all the cities are there. And this is the representation as I showed you. This is your embedded dimension in a forward direction or the backward direction. In both the cases, you are getting the structures, which is a base plane structures. Uh, these are key, which kind of manifold and manifold with the holes, yeah, or these are the data is a good data, whether it is giving a exactly manifold or the data is a noisy data, or which kind of data we have to select. These are the questions which still remains unanswered, because suppose I gave a today's weight as a 70% or a 30%. So these are the questions which gives the minimized error. So this is the work of the data scientist, that how to reduce the error or minimize the error. I cannot say that we bring to the zero error, but our jobs are is to minimize the error. And if we are minimizing the error in a minimum time, that is the best job we are doing there. And these are all that if we are recovering the this in the Euclidean space, some function. So it is an isometric embedding. If f preserve in planetesimally length and angle, it is a conformal embedding. If it f preserves the infinitesimal angles only. So at every point there is a scalar which is greater than 0, such that the infinitesimal vector is magnified in length with the factor sy. So basically these are the some only for about the manifolds. So you see different type of the manifolds, like this is a spiral which you are getting a node forms. This is a node form. All are coming towards the point or moving around this. So isometric conformal embedding. Suppose you have this equation. So here, this in the conformal mapping, these are the two paths. So these should be the derivative is equal to this one. And you are getting that these two systems are embedded. So this is a invariant manifold. Same for the dissipative systems, that this is a equilibrium point, how the points are moving around this point. And this is a positively, here it is equilibrium point. Here it is coming to be fast and slowly moving about this point. So these are the different type of the trajectories. I'm not going in the much, only just showing you, because if someone has the more interest in the differential geometry, then easily you are able to visualize as these manifolds. So these are only, I'm giving you a glimpses that how different in the same plane you are getting a different type of the entropies. So you see that this is a equilibrium point, curve is moving along this or this or this, different manifolds you are getting it. These are all the, and in the last, as I showed you that how much points you are getting in a line along this. So that gives you the scale of that one, like this. So all these are the simple separations, and these are again through eigenvectors we can find out these ones. All these are the manifolds, just because you are able to analyze this one. Now, already I explained all these things. Now I am coming to the, this also I explained on that day. So these are all manifolds. You are getting different types of the manifolds. I think I have taken this one. I will take the another example. Just a minute. This one I have taken already yesterday. So I will take another example. Yeah, I'm taking this example. Yeah, this is because nowadays nanotechnology and nanofluids are playing a very important role. So I'm taking this example. This is a very good example. Here we are taking a infinitesimal cavity in a Cartesian coordinate system, which is electrically conducted nanofluid is passing through this. The horizontal fluid layer in its flow is subjected to heat and magnetic exposure along with gravity. The two long walls are maintained at temperature TH and TC respectively, and the short end walls are thermally insulated. The vertical axis is collinear with the gravity, and the uniform and constant magnetic field is applied normally to the heated side of the cavity. The change in fluid density is caused by the variation of temperature, which is due to the high heat temperature and the interaction of the magnetic field with the connective motion. Like you see that here we have this trajectory. Basically, here we are trying to model the structure when cholesterol deposition is in the body, then how the blood flow, and anywhere if we have a stuck out with the flow of the blood due to high deposition of the cholesterol, then using the magnetic therapy, how it is possible to make the blood flow possible. So here you see that this is the structure which is taken. These are the two walls which are thermally insulated, and the surface is here you have the 1 value, here the 0 value. So if we are taking these ones, and basically this is a Idris and Hashim study this model, but they have not studied any microfluidic structure, means a blood flow. And Garnett and Albusri studied the system, but they have not studied for the nanofluids. So combining these models, we develop a new model. We talked this one. Here the temperature is 1. This is a temperature 0. The flow is like this one. These are the two adiabatic walls. And this is the cross section. And B bar is the magnetic field. This is the gravity is acting on this system. So using this, we are using some boundary condition like t equal to 1 at z equal to 0 and t equal to 0 at z equal to 1. We use the stress-free condition. UVW is the velocity component.
इसके लिए आप आपका असिस्टेंट रख लो एक ना कि वही फीस ले वही सब ये डील करे.
Hello.
Please mute
UVW
your
are
mic.
the velocity component and XYZ are the component of the point. So we are taking the condition that rate of change along U direction means del U by del Z, del V by del Z, and the second order acceleration around W is 0. Also, we are using the impermeability condition, which shows that W dot En means the vector along this direction is 0. Also, we take the stream function as U as a del psi by del Z and W equal to minus del psi by del X. Using this, we write down the governing equations, which are governed by this is a continuity equation. Then we are using the pressure equation, temperature equation, and using all these, we write down these 4 equations. Now, these are the all partial differential equations, where V star is the velocity, pressure, electric potential, electric current density, magnetic field, thermal diffusivity, thermal expansion coefficient, temperature, thermal expansion coefficient, fluid viscosity. All these are the components are mentioned. And on the first day, I said that our whole body is completely a nonlinear, and it is experiencing a most complicated, complex phenomena. So this is the blood flow equation in our body, which governs by these systems. So firstly, we transform this in the non-dimensional system by using these factors, where this is the velocity component, this is the temperature difference, and this is the effective thermal diffusivity. And using, we rewrite the equations. So we got these equations. Now we use the boundary conditions, and using this, and we introduce these numbers because the blood flow is there. So Prudential number is there, Rayleigh number is there, and the Hartmann number is there. So using these all calculations and using the Galerkian system by these 2 methods, we transfer our system of equation into these 3 equations. And it required a lot of calculation, and I think around 50 to 60 pages to reduce that system into this equations. So we got this as a partial differential equation. This bar is this one and d02 bar is this one. Now we further reduce this system and transform it into the three simultaneous differential equations. By using this and solving, we got these points. So, and the points x, y, z, we got these ones. Now the differential equation we got as a this system, and here L, M, N, F, T, all these are the constant. And this system, if you see that yesterday I give you the example of the Lagrange, Lorentz system. So this system is similar to the Lorentz system. So we transform the system which is similar to the Lorentz system, and using this system, we try to find out the stability. Now this is a three-dimensional, three first order differential equation, where these are the constant parameters, variable parameters, not all constants. And using this, we try to find out the solution of the system. So we wrote the Jacobian, we wrote the determinant trace, then we find out these are the fixed point, and the characteristic polynomial we find out. And now our purpose is to find out where we are getting the stable system or unstable system. So if you have a 0 point, then Jacobian is this one and characteristic comes to be this one. This means as per that condition, this should be greater than 0 and this should be greater than 0. So B1 is this one, B2 is this one, B3 is this one. This means if N is less than A, then you are getting this as a stable asymptotic. But if it is greater than A, then you are getting this as a unstable. And when NT equal to A, we are getting a critical case. So these are the cases which we analyzed. This means when we are taking this one, so this one as B1 is already positive, B3 is positive, so B1, B2 minus B3 we are taking it, which comes out to be NT less than A, then the system is asymptotically stable. NT greater A, it is unstable. This means the point is changing behavior along these three conditions. Same way, second condition we are finding. So when we are solving it as C1, C2 minus C3, then we are getting this condition. So this we said as a critical point. So if NT is less than NT critical, then we are getting a stable stage. If NT equal to NT critical, then we are getting a critical stage. And if NT equal to NTC, then we are getting a chaotic stage. And these are the points which we are mentioning here. Now we are coming to the static of this one. So these are the points. And this is the basically to calculate all the parameters. We use this thermophysical properties. So water has the density as this one, component as these ones. Based on this, blood also has this one. And we have taken a ferric oxide nanoparticle inside the blood because our blood contains this ferric oxide. And we calculate these parameters. So our value of the beta var diffusivity comes to these ones. And based on this, we try to find out the solution of our system. So ferric oxide, if value of this value is 24.4 less than, then we are getting a stable spiral phase. Between this, we are getting limit cycle. And if it is greater than 26, we are getting the chaotic stage. So if we are taking a Reynolds number as 28, and we are varying the Hartmann number, because Hartmann number is based on the temperature. So if it is less than 0.68, we got a chaotic phase. 6.9 to 7.9, we are getting a limit cycle, and above 8, we are getting a spiral phases. Now here you see that it is giving you the Prudential number is 10, Hartmann number is 0.6, and the Reynolds number is 28. So we are getting it as a chaotic series. Now if we are changing, here Hartmann number is 0.7, means only I'm changing a HA. PR is same, RA is same. See that PR is same and RA, only I'm changing this Hartmann number. This means I'm varying the temperature only. So you are getting this as a critical stage from the chaotic. It is coming to be after some time to be towards a regular one. But if I'm taking a Hartmann number as 1.3, so that transform completely to the regular motion. This means a chaotic one transform to the regular one if we control the temperature. And it is reverse. If Hartmann number is 0.5 and RA is 20, you have a regular motion. But if RA is 25, then you are getting a critical structures. If RA equal to 30, you got a chaotic structure. This means if a magnetic field is expanding, then you are getting a temperature to be a constant. Then it is becoming, the system is becoming a chaotic one. So here the therapy main important is if RA is 20, you are having a regular one. But as RA is moving, you are seeing that all structures are becoming a chaotic systems. But if you are taking a, this is a stable structure, this is a critical structure, and this is a chaotic structure. But this is a reverse case, and we are interested in this case. Here it is a chaotic case, but as you are increasing the temperature, you are getting a regular structure. This means managing a different value of HA, the cholesterol deposition can be controlled or the blood flow is possible. So here from chaotic to the regular state we are coming. These are all DLI, FLI and other cases. Now I'm showing you this table. See this table. At the value of RA as 20, the three eigenvalues you are getting, the both all are negative. Since all are negative, that's why you are getting a stable character. At 25, you are getting a 1 as 0, 2 are negative. That's why you are getting a critical case. At 28, again you are getting 1 is positive and 2 are negative, but the sum is still positive. That's why you are getting a chaotic case. And when 35, again you are getting 2 positive and 1 is negative. But since sum is negative, that's why you are getting a hyperchaotic. And like this thing, values of RA, you are getting a structure that from stable, you are reaching to the chaotic phase. And this is a table, a reverse of that. Here you are having the value of HA. So the eigenvalues are these ones. So these two are negative and one is positive, but the sum is still negative. That's why you are getting it as a strange chaotic. When HA is 0.2, then two are positive, one is negative. It is a chaotic, but since sum is negative, that's why you are getting hyperchaotic. And see that from chaotic, you are moving towards the stable case. So these are the different type of the trajectories. So basically, what is the purpose? Now I'm coming to show you the conclusion which I have from this. So these are the stable case and all eigenvalues are there. So basically magnetic field intensity applied under a specific temperature is thoroughly dependent on the Hartmann number. As Hartmann number increases or field is varied to higher intensity, the chaotic phase of fluid flow transit to the stable state flow in a channelized manner. It is observed that practically it is getting used in target specific magnetic drug delivery or in CMR applications. It is concluded that in case of non-uniform cholesterol deposition, the value of Rayleigh number at which chaos begins is quite high. And as you are mentioning that, so it is observed that at different value of Rayleigh number and Hart number, Lipnov indicator entropy and bifurcation graphs clearly indicates that it is easy to convert the chaotic state to the stable state. So this means in case of patients with non-uniform cholesterol deposition, detection of extent of damage with accuracy is easier as curing through normal drug delivery makes possible to a flow to the specific target. So this type of therapy, magnetic therapy, we have studied that a lot about the Chinese and Japanese medical treatment. So this magnetic therapy really helps that. So for making a blood flow, so it is possible deposition narrow in between passages then even with this therapy, stable flow is possible. So this is also we can use that, and I am working in collaboration with Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So for nuclear coolant also this is used, this type of the systems. Uh, so these are the some papers which we have taken care of these ones. Uh, so I think there are the different type of the systems. So you can use a different factors and different systems for studying this type of the structures, because now already it is 5 minutes. So I thought I will stop here and